Hey guys, welcome back. So today I'll be recreating this fall inspired look for you using 100% affordable makeup. So if you're interested in seeing how I achieved this look and what products I used, please keep on watching. So for primer, we're going to start off with the e.l.f. Aqua Primer Mist. So and then on top of that, we're going to go in with the L'Oreal Revitalift Miracle Blur Instant Skin Smoother, and this is the oil-free version. I'm just going to place that all over the face. So while I let the primer set in, I'm going to go in and do my brows. So I have both of these brow pencils from L'Oreal. This is like the Anastasia Brow Wiz dupe, and then this is the Anastasia Brow Definer dupe. So I like both of them. I think I'm going to go in with this one, which is the Brow Stylist Shape and Fill. So before I go in with that pencil, I'm going to go in with the L'Oreal Brow Stylist Plumper. This one is in clear. And I'm just going to use this to kind of prime and set my brows and have them lay where I want them to. So just like the Brow Definer, this has a bit of a triangular tip. So I'm just going to go in and fill in my brows like normal, starting towards the middle and working my way towards the end. It's where I usually like to keep it the darkest. And this is in the shade Dark Brunette, which is actually a really good match for my hair. Just gonna fill in my arch a little bit where I have a bald spot. And I'm just gonna take the spoolie end and brush through my brows just to blend them out. So I'm actually just gonna quickly go in with the Brow Stylist Definer. Again, this is in Dark Brunette. And I'm just gonna define that point a little bit more. The Brow Stylist Shape and Fill is nice and I like it, but sometimes I feel like the point isn't sharp enough, and so my tail ends up being a little bit thicker than I want it to be. And then again, I'm just going to run through everything with the spoolie real quick. I think if you've been interested in the Anastasia Brow Wiz or the Brow Definer, but you don't want to spend the money on it, these are really good alternatives to both of those. And now we just wait until Ulta has their buy one get one half off on L'Oreal, and you can get both of them. By the way, everything I'm using in today's video is going to be linked down below, so if you're interested in checking anything out, I will leave that down below in the description box for you. I typically leave all of the products I'm using or I mention in the description box. I just always forget to mention it, so if you ever are interested or curious about a product I'm using, always check the description box because 99% of the time it'll all be down there. So now I'm going to go in with my Maybelline Fit Me Concealer in medium. I'm going to use this to carve out the lower portion of my brows. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like the drugstores really stepped up their game with their makeup, and I've actually been enjoying a lot of drugstore makeup lately. I'm just going to go in with this Real Techniques Deluxe Crease Brush, and I'm going to blend out that concealer. And now I'm going to go in and pump a little bit of my Super Stay Better Skin Foundation. This is in the shade Warm Honey. It's a little dark for me, so I'm also going to mix in the NYX Pro Foundation Mixer. This has been my lifesaver lately. So I'm just going to pump a little bit of this Better Skin onto my palette, and then mix in about one drop of this NYX Foundation Mixer. I'm just going to take my Wet n Wild brush and mix those two together. And as always, I'm just going to test it on my chin just to make sure it's a good match. Ooh, I might have added too much foundation mixer. Just blend it out to make sure. It's not too bad. We can work with it. So I'm just going to take that mixture. I'm just going to carve out the tops of my brows. It might be a little too light. We'll make it work with some powder and some bronzer. Ooh, maybe a lot too light. Okay. With my Real Techniques Miracle Complexion Sponge that's dampened, I'm just going to blend that out. So now I'm going to go in and prime my lids, and I'm going to go in and use my NYX Proof It eyeshadow primer. I actually really like this stuff, and I have so many other primers I just completely forgot about it. But it does do a really good job of priming your lid. I wish I had a little bit more pigment to it because I like my lid to be a little bit more blanked out so the colors pop more, but it's good for longevity. I'm just going to take my finger and blend all of that in. And now I'm just going to take my Rimmel Stay Matte powder. This one is in transparent. I'm going to take my Real Techniques setting brush, and I'm going to use that to set my primer. Okay, so now for eyes, I'm going to go in with my Morphe 25A palette. I believe this is called the Copper Spice palette. You can get it at Ulta now. So I think 18 bucks is a really good deal for this because you get 25 shadows in it. So I'm just going to go in and take a mixture of these two shades and place that just above my crease like I normally would, just as a transition color. So I'm going to take this Essential Crease Brush from Real Techniques, and I'm going to go into the shade right here. I'm going to place that directly into the crease. I'm going to take this Moda brush. I'm going to go right back into this shade right here and blend out that crease area so there's no harsh lines. So I think I'm just going to go in with this shade right here all over the lid. It looks like this. It's a beautiful coppery shade. I think I'm just going to go in simple today and just do an all over lid shade using this color. And I'm just using a Real Techniques base shadow brush for this. Whoa. I really need to start playing with palettes more because just like my Jaclyn Hill palette, I've only used this like a couple times. Oh, but there is fallout and it is in my eyes, so be careful. That's a really chunky shadow. I know that this is in Ulta stores, and I know they changed the repackaging, so it's not in squares like this anymore. It's actually in round pans, but I believe it's the same exact formulation and everything. I haven't heard anything about them changing it, so. But that's a really gorgeous color. And as usual, I'm just going to blend that into the crease a little bit. Just for fun, I'm going to take this shade down here. I'm going to place that in the center of the lid, just to open it up a little bit. Now I'm going to go back in with the Moda brush and blend out that crease. And I think that's all we're going to do for the lid today. A real simple, quick look, but still fall appropriate. So I'm going to go in with my NYX Matte Liquid Liner, and I'm going to do a wing. So with hooded eyes, what I like to do, since it's a little bit more difficult to do a wing with hooded eyes, I like to look straight into the mirror, and with my eyes open, I'm going to connect that line to my lid. Then I'm just going to go and fill it in. So I'm just going to go in, since it's a little straighter than I want it to be, I'm just going to go in with my concealer, kind of trim it, I guess, just like that. I'm going to go in with a deluxe crease brush and blend it out. And then I'm just going to go back in with my NYX liner and clean that up a little bit. So I've got my eyeliner on. I know my wings aren't perfect, so don't judge me. We're just going to move on, okay? Okay, so now I'm gonna curl my lashes, and I'm just gonna throw on my L'Oreal Voluminous Lash Paradise as normal, and I will be right back. Okay, so mascara is on, and I've been trying a new thing lately where I just wait until the end to do my lashes because I find that I get a lot of powder in them. So I'm gonna hold off until the end with that, and I'm just gonna move on to the face. So we're gonna go in again with my Maybelline Super Stay Better Skin Foundation in 90 Warm Honey, and just like with my brows, I'm going to add a little bit of my NYX Pro Foundation Mixer into it since it is very dark for me right now. I'm just going to take my Wet n Wild brush and mix that all together. Okay, and now I'm just going to paint that onto my face. Might have made it too light again, but we'll make it work with some bronzer. I haven't used this foundation in a while, and I think from what I can remember, it dries pretty fast. So I'm just going to work in sections. So I'm going to go into my Real Techniques Miracle Complexion Sponge and just blend all of that out. But aside from the color being wrong, this is a really good foundation. I haven't used it in a while, but from what I can remember, it's actually a really decent foundation. And it's got skincare products in it. So it's kind of like a skincare foundation 2-in-1 type thing. So that's always really good. So before we move on to concealer, I'm actually going to do a little trick I like to do. And since this foundation is pretty dark for me right now, I'm actually going to use it as a contour, kind of a cream contour type thing. So I'm just going to squirt a little bit more into my palette. And I'm just going to take the same foundation brush and go into that color and place it in all the places I would normally contour, and hopefully it'll warm up my face a little bit. I adjusted the light a little bit, so let's see if that helps. I was looking extra pale in my viewfinder, so maybe it'll look better now. So again, I'm just going to go into my Real Techniques Miracle Complexion Sponge and blend that out. Did a little bit of this job. Again, we just go in with some bronzer, maybe a little bit of a darker powder to make it not look so pale on me. So now I'm going to go back in with my Maybelline Fit Me in medium. I'm just going to highlight where I would normally highlight. And again, I'm just going to blend that out. So I'm going to go in with my Maybelline Fit Me Loose Finishing Powder in medium. Just hoping this isn't too dark now, because usually this is too light for me. I just like to shake a little bit into the lid. Ooh, that's a lot of bit. And I'm just going to take my Real Techniques sponge. I'm going to set that concealer. So now we're going to go in with the L'Oreal Infallible, which is a bit darker. I'm just going to take my Ulta powder brush and load it up. I'm going to try to bring some color back into this face. So now I'm going to go into my NYX contour palette. I haven't used this in a while. I'm going to go in with my Coastal Scents tulip shape brush. And I'm going to take this shade right here. Use it to bronze up my face. And I'm going to take my e.l.f. blush brush and I'm going to go into this yellow shade. I'm going to use it on my under eye. Now I'm going to go into my Wet n Wild Color Icon blush in Mellow Wine. And I'm going to take my Morphe PK4 and place this onto my cheeks. And then I'm going to go in with my Wet n Wild MegaGlo highlighting powder in Precious Petals with my Real Techniques setting brush. Let me use that to highlight my face. So now we're going to move back on into the eyes. I'm going to go in with the Sonia Kashuk shadow brush. And I'm going to take this shade over here. I'm going to run that along the lower lash line. Now I'm going to take my NYX Très Jolie gel pencil liner, which I think I need a new one. I'm pretty sure this one's broken. I'm just going to line my upper and bottom waterline. And again, as usual, I'm just going to take this on my lower waterline just about halfway, a third to a halfway, so we're not closing off the eye too much. I'm going to take my L'Oreal Voluminous Lash Primer and coat my lower lashes. I'm going to follow that up with my Lash Paradise. And then before we move on to the lashes, I'm going to go back into my Morphe palette. I'm going to take this little Real Techniques accent brush. I'm going to go back into the shade that we place on the center of the lid. I'm going to place that on the inner corner. Now for lashes, I'm going to go in with the Kiss Lash Couture Faux Mink collection. And this is in the style Midnight. So I'm going to pop these on real quick and I'll be right back. Okay, so the lashes are on. I do have to say, if you don't like a thicker lash band, I would be wary of these because these have a pretty thick lash band, but they're not heavy at all. So I was worried about that when I saw how thick the lash band was. But honestly, I can hardly tell that I have lashes on. I love them. They're nice and fluffy and wispy. If you don't mind a thick lash band, I think you'll really like these. So before we move on to the lips, I'm going to go through and brush out any powder that might be in my brows. I'm going to go in with my L'Oreal Brow Stylist Plumper. Just like the lashes, I've been leaving my brows for last because then I don't have to worry about any powder getting stuck in them. Plus, if I have to touch anything up, if I accidentally erase my tail with my foundation or whatever, I can go in and do that before setting my brows. So now we're going to move on to lips. I'm going to go in with my Wet n Wild Liquid Catsuit in Give Me Mocha. It's a nice mauvey brown shade. This is probably one of my favorite drugstore liquid lipstick formulas. It's super comfortable to wear. It's not drying on the lip. I have a lot of dry patches on my bottom lip right now, and it's not accentuating them at all. And it's super lightweight. So, love this stuff. So now I'm just going to go in with my Wet n Wild Photo Focus setting spray and set my face. Again, if you've never used this before, just be careful and make sure you hold it out pretty far away from you, because if you hold it too close, it will leave big droplets on your face. And this is the final result. I really like how this turned out. I didn't really have a direction on which way I was gonna go with this, but I like how it turned out. I like the coppery eyes. My lashes help my liner look not as uneven, so that's good. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please hit that like button down below. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and I will see you in tomorrow's video. Bye guys!